Shannon, how much truth is there to that?
Ain't no truth. I can help clear it up for you. The internet didn't start this narrative. Now, Skip, I'm good now. My normal research, my guy that helps do my part of the show, Steve, he's on vacation.
Oh, so yeah, that's why you've been so bad.
He and his lovely wife just have twins. And he's spending time with those guys.
Congrats,
Olivia and Zoe.
Steve.
You're excused.
Yeah, Uncle Shay missed you.
We gotta give him some love. Congrats.
So I got me a new one.
Okay.
Ash. Ash, my gal. So I said, Ash, I need you to do me a favor. Skip, I called her Sunday. She at Disney. I think she said she was at Disney. But anyway, I said, I need you to do me a favor. I said, I want you to go back as far as you can and find the first time someone referred to a teammate, a player, or someone else referred to Paul George as playoff P. She went all the way back. She said, I'm in 2011. I went from 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I never heard one person refer to Paul George as playoff P.
Until
2018. He referred to himself as playoff P.
He did. Okay.
So when you give yourself a name like that, you better perform come win, Skip, not the regular season.
That is some third-level research.
Yes, because I needed to know. I said, well, maybe I missed something.
Yeah.
And the name PG-13, Bill Simmons gave him that name. He recommended that he change his number. Say PG-13 is better than PG because he was 24 at first. Put in a request, and then he'd have to buy out the jersey. But that's neither here nor there. So that's what I'm saying, Skip. So when you give yourself a name, Skip, Magic, somebody gave him that name because of what he could do with the basketball. It's like he's.
By the way, greatest nickname ever. Ever.
Yeah, Larry Legend.
Okay.
He didn't say, hey, I'm Larry Legend. No. He didn't give himself that name. Mike didn't give himself
but both could live up to those nicknames. Yes.
Skip, let me tell you what playoff P. Before in 2013, before he became Paul George, there was no expectations. He gave the Heat, the big three Heat, all they could handle. Yeah. But in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7, 7 points on 2 of 9 shooting. 2017, round 1 against Miami, they got swept. In Game 4, he had 15 points on 5 of 21 shooting. In 2018, round 1 against Utah, Game 6, 5 points on 2 of 16 shooting. Last year, the 2020 Western Conference semifinals against Denver, 10 points on 4 of 16. Boogie, what you mean you don't understand the narrative? The narrative is that your guy in meaningful playoff games has come up short.
Yep.
That's what it is. There ain't no internet created no narrative. Just like he created that name, he got to do something about this. Now, it's easy to do this when you get your Marcus Morris goes for 20 in the first half, and Reggie Jack goes for 14, and Boogie goes for 10. So now Paul George is like, okay, I can relax. The pressure's not on me. But I need the pressure because, see, here's the thing, Skip, about a Game 5. You're 5.5-point underdogs. Everybody expects you to lose anyway, so I can throw caution to the wind. Now that you got the game going back into your building, now I want to see what you're going to do in Game 6. And if you can force a Game 7, let me see what you're going to do in a Game 7. So don't start this notion that all of a sudden people just started attacking Paul George, because they didn't. Paul George brought this on himself with his play in meaningful ball games. I'm not talking about the regular season, because he didn't say it my name. I mean, I'm regular season P. What I do in the regular season, I be cooking folks in the regular season.
Yep.
He said playoff P. And prior to last night, give me a Paul George signature playoff game. Prior to last night, for every one that you give me, I give you 4 when he come up small. That's how it happened. That's how it always happened. There's a reason things transpire. You created this. Okay, now draw a new picture. Okay, Paul, you got a great start. You starting on a new canvas. Okay, let's see if you can finish it.
Okay, so bottom line to this debate is that I think we agree Paul George has become one of the all-time lightning rods for both positivity and negativity, right?
Yes. But I love that his teammates taking up for him, though.
Okay, I do too. But for me, because I'm rooting for the Clippers, he has become one of the most conflicting, confounding players I've ever tried to root for, because from quarter to quarter, I don't know what I'm going to get from him. I'll get some pandemic, and then I'll get some playoff. I believe in playoff P. I've told you all year, I thought he grew up and toughened up after what happened in the bubble. And to DeMarcus's point about, I don't know where this came from. Well, it just came from the bubble. He melted down and he admitted it publicly. He said, I crumbled psychologically. I needed help in the bubble. And it was in part because they were stuck in the bubble, and he got what they call cabin fever, where you get stuck in your room in your hotel and you just can't take it anymore. And it started to affect his performance on the court with no fans. So the point is that that's where it all came from. And yet the irony of this is, I thought so many people out there in viewer land want our athletes today to show vulnerability.
Yeah.
If you have psychological issues or weakness, you should go seek counseling. Well, he admitted, I needed a counselor in the bubble. And he got annihilated for it. He got ridiculed for needing counseling in the bubble.
What he got ridiculed for, Skip, is that he used that for as an excuse. Because when he played good, he didn't need no counsel. It was only when he started to play bad. So what was that in 2013? When he melted down? What was that in 2017, 2018? What was that?
I believe he did first acknowledge this publicly. I think it was on TNT right after a good game that he had like a bounce back game against Dallas.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, and he went into the background of the first 5 games of this series or whatever it was. I just crumbled.
I don't, Skip, I don't, listen. People deal with things. There are things going on in people's life we may not know a lot about, that they're secretly battling demons. Okay, I got that. But, Skip, you can't say when things are going bad, I'm battling this, and when things are going good, you're on top of the world. He's like Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic. He's on top of the world when things are going good. When things go bad, no, that's all I'm saying. You got issues, deal with them. I empathize with you. But don't do this. Don't do this, Boogie, to pretend like you don't know.
I hope this ends better than it did for Leo, for Paul, right?
It's just with him and Kate Winslet. You remember the scene, Skip?
Do I? Yeah.
So, but all that being said, Skip, all this is predicated on what? When Marcus Morris goes 50% from the floor, they're 8-0 in the playoffs.
Okay, so here's my takeaway. The first line that DeMarcus uttered about he's one of the most special ever to lace him up. I agree with that because I think even you agree deep down.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 6'8".
Yes.
And long and can play defense just the way he can play offense. He's led this league in steals before. He's been all defense 4 times. In 2019, at Oklahoma City, led the league in steals and finished 3rd in the MVP.
Right.
He is supremely talented.
He is, Skip.
He's not a good free throw shooter for the most part until it's time to make them. And he made all 8 last night. He's a great free throw shooter. Okay. So we see that he's got deep range. He's got the whole package. He's got, dare I say, he's got a lot of what LeBron has. I'm not saying he's LeBron, but he's in the ballpark with LeBron. He can't pass the ball like LeBron can, but he's a pretty good passer when he gets going.
He can shoot the 3. He got mid-range. He can get to the basket.
Hey.
I mean, and all of this, Skip, he's become this after that gruesome injury that he suffered in Vegas during the All-Star thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, Olympic.
Yes. And then before he joined the Clippers, after Kawhi recruited him out of Oklahoma City, he needed 2 shoulder surgeries. So he came into last season, not this past one, but the year before, the first year with the Clippers, off double shoulder surgery. So he's had a lot going on with his body. And he says right now he's feeling the best he's felt in a long time. Okay, so we've seen 7 all-star teams that he's made. I said 4 all-defense, 3rd in MVP. So I think we could acknowledge he's a really good player.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he's a star. I can't go superstar.
But that's why you're conflicted, because you just read off his resume and then you watch games like he have and you say, what the hell is this, PG? That's what's conflicting. That's what starts the narrative. When you see a guy that's so supremely talented and you watch what he did last night. Skip, the guy missed 5 shots in 40 minutes. He missed 5 shots in 40 minutes.
And I told you I couldn't give him an A. I gave him a B for last night because he had 6 horrendous turnovers, where he had stretches of turnover play where you said, what happened to you? Have you hit the wall psychologically and physically?
But he let him in assist, Skip, and he gave you 13.
But again, he's the kind you walk away and look at the box score and you say, wow, look at that. But we could have done that off game 4. Where you looked at the box score and you said, but no, you know what happened in the 4th quarter. 1 of 7 happened in the 4th quarter.
But I think the thing is, plus, a lot of that 1 of 7, Skip, some of those turnovers that you talk about in game 4, they happened in the 4th quarter. Thankfully for the Clippers, none of these really costly turnovers happened late in the ball game.
Not late, but he had a salvo. He had 3 in the 4th quarter.
Yeah. or the game wasn't close enough that,
Yep.
you know, the one-score game, now all of a sudden a turnover, now you let it be a tie ball game.
So think about this. Since Paul George entered the league, if we look at playoff statistics, there are only 3 players who have this caliber of numbers. He's 21, 8, and 4 in playoff games since he entered the league.
Right.
Only LeBron and KD have better lines than that.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So just remember, that doesn't grow on Southern California palm tree. He's from Palmdale, right up the road from L.A.
Right.
It's just hard to find those kind of numbers. But does he have issues? Does he have flaw? Yeah. And he's hard to trust. He's hard to trust from start to finish of games. But would you want to have him on your team?
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, but Skip, he created the narrative. Mm-hmm. Just like he created that name, he created the narrative that come playoff time in meaningful playoff games, he has come up small.
He has.
That's the narrative. Skip, they gave Magic Johnson that. Magic was a 2-time Finals MVP. But he did something in '84.
Yep.
He dribbled out the clock when they had the game won.
He did.
And they called him tragic.
They did.
Now, you talk about Magic Johnson, who had won the Finals MVP twice. Mm-hmm. And they labeled him that. Even after that. So what do you think Paul George is going to get? Who's won nothing?
And Magic came right back the next year and wiped the slate clean.
Yes.
Nobody thought of tragic anymore.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that's what Paul George. See, you think that just by he won some games, y'all got to start. No. It took Magic to come back and win the championship in '85 for you. So that made it 3. Let's think about that. The guy was a 2-time Finals MVP, and people are like, hold up, one mistake.
Okay. When I hark back to Game 2 at Phoenix, it was classic playoff/pandemic P, because remember, he has a burst of points, just an explosion of points. From the 240 mark down to the 22nd mark, he scored 9 points.
Right.
And I'm like, I got this. Then he goes to the line to put them up 3.
Right.
And it would have forced them on the last possession to shoot a 3 instead of the inbound lob to Ayton.
Right.
And you know what happened? Clank happened.
Right.
Okay, so it's hard to embrace that because you're like, oh, he's great. No, he's not. He's pandemic P. Look, there he did it again. And then Game 4 at home, he goes 1 of 7 in the fourth quarter and 0 of 2 from 3.
Right.
And 5 of 9 on free throws, and it's hard to wrap your arm back around it, right?
Right.
So you're saying, well, I can't trust him. And then if I can quickly hark back to that game you talked about in 2018, the closeout game at Utah. It's his worst game ever. He was 2 of 16 and 0 of 6 from 3. But remember, that's a game where Russ has taken 43 shots.
Yeah.
It's just hard to even find shots because Russ trusts nobody but Russ.
Right.
And he's not going to create shots for you. You got to sort of find your own
And that
shots.
was 2 weeks before. That was when Paul George called himself playoff P.
That was right there.
And Skip, it was so... Carmelo Anthony on stage with him like, I ain't know they called him that.
He laughed.
Thank you. So
by the way, Carmelo in that closeout game scored 7 points with 3 rebounds. So he wasn't any better. He was a minus 19.
Yes.
Okay.
So you talk about somebody that's around the NBA that knows the nicknames and knows how to dress. Everybody around, they call him Book. Devin Book, that's Book. So hearing somebody that's around you is like, oh, that's what they call it? That's my first time hearing it.
Okay.
You give yourself a name playoff. Okay, I'm gonna see it in the playoffs.
Okay, so my bottom line is I'm still happy he's on my team tomorrow night.
Okay.
That's all I got to say.
I'm gonna see if you feel that same way when you come in here Thursday morning.
Okay, let's see.
I hope we can carry the momentum, the energy, the confidence.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.